As per usual, I have absolutely no idea what's going on, which is my sign to get started. Bibliophiles of the internet, today I'm going to talk through some of my TBR hopefuls for the upcoming round of the Queer Lit Readathon. If you saw my announcement video, then you know I'm coming back this round as an official co-host, which is really awesome, and if you want an in-depth overview of the bingo board, the reading prompts, and pretty much everything you need to know about this event, then you can go watch that video. All of the dates, official social media, and Rogan's website, which has a great summary of all things Queer Lit Readathon, will also be included down below, so you can also give that a look. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say that I am not like a big TBR person, which may not sound surprising if you followed my content for literally any amount of time. My Libra tendencies cannot be overcome. I don't like committing to set reading plans before I know what my life is actually going to look like. I love freedom. I love being able to change my mind whenever I want. So what I'm going to share here is very tentative. These are just a few possibilities I foresee being accessible to me during the week of the event, and I'll be doing my best to at least get to some of these books. I will also tell you which prompts these books could fulfill as we go through them, so let's just get started. I think my topmost priority this round will be to read my arc of As You Walk On by Julian Winters. I feel like for me, reading Julian's latest book is going to become an unspoken Queer Lit Readathon tradition. I'm not sure which of his other books I've read for past Queer Lit Readathon rounds, but I know for sure that I read Right Where I Left You for the winter round last year in 2021. So this is Julian's upcoming book coming out from Viking Books for Young Readers in January 2023. It's a queer contemporary romance, as is Julian's specialty, and as the title sort of suggests, I believe it's trying to embody those Breakfast Club vibes. The story follows Theo, who seems to have everything figured out, and in pursuit of the perfect prom night, his best friend dares him to prompose to his crush at this huge party, so Theo accepts and decides to take his chances. But this promposal goes epically wrong, and Theo finds himself hiding from everyone in an empty bedroom upstairs, where he's just reconsidering all of his life choices, but he's joined one by some other misfit classmates who are also trying to avoid their own problems awaiting them downstairs. Like I said, it seems to have that Breakfast Club feel to it, with all these characters coming together in this one place, learning more about each other, and maybe even figuring a few things out about themselves. Just based off what I know about Julian Winters and my experience reading his stories, this one could very well qualify for 5-star prediction, queer joy, catch up since I have had this arc for quite a bit, intersectional, and brings you joy since I love Julian's books. I also love throwing in some shorter options to help make me feel more accomplished and keep me motivated while I maybe take a few days to work my way through an average-sized book, so manga and graphic novels are my best friend in that sense. I would say the number one queer manga I want to get to would be Go For It Again Nakamura by Sionde. This is obviously the sequel to Go For It Nakamura, which is a delightful queer slice-of-life manga about this incredibly closeted gay Japanese boy who was hopelessly in love with his classmate Hirose and forever reading far too much into every minuscule interaction they happen to share. It almost feels like a series of one-shots, with Nakamura just being completely flustered and overwhelmed and imagining these over-the-top romantic fantasies over the most mundane things as he and Hirose very gradually become friends. It's such an endearing series. For me, it's not really about whether there's going to be some kind of endgame romance, but I just love seeing Nakamura be so incredibly awkward, but also put himself out there and try to genuinely be a good friend to Hirose at the same time. It's great. We have been waiting for literal years for a sequel to come out, not even knowing whether it was actually going to happen, but it's been out since July, and I've had it since July, so I definitely need to read this. Going back to the bingo board, this would definitely qualify for satire/comedy because this series has over-the-top comedic flair. It might qualify for indie pubbed because I believe Seven Seas is technically an independently owned press, but do not quote me on that. Obviously, this would fit the not a novel challenge, and for me, it would once again go for the 5-star prediction, catch up, and brings you joy spaces. The other comic I would love to finally get to would be Fence, Volume 5 by Joanna the Mad and C.S. Packet. This is a queer sports comic series about this scrappy fencer named Nicholas who is the illegitimate son of a renowned fencing champion, but he's had to fight tooth and nail to be able to train and compete, and now he finds himself accepted to a prestigious private academy with one of the best fencing programs. Nicholas finds himself way out of his depth as he not only still has to earn his spot on the team and compete against his half-brother, but he also finds out that one of his most detested rivals, Seiji Katayama, is also his roommate. And yes, I probably should have included this one in my accidental domesticity Rex video I made a little bit ago, but you know, in the words of Hannah Montana, everybody makes mistakes. Again, if you've been here before, you know that I love queer sports stories. It is very much my jam. This is not breaking news, and this comic perfectly fits that niche in every imaginable way. It's an absolute joy to read, and I did also really enjoy the novel adaptation as well. So again, prompt-wise, this would count for not a novel, catch up, and for me, 5-star prediction or brings you joy. The only other novel I think I really want to try to prioritize is If You Still Recognize Me by Cynthia So. I have been sitting on this one since June. I also mentioned it in my most recent haul, so you might recognize it, no pun intended, from that video. It's a sapphic YA romance about Elsie who's been seriously crushing on her friend Ada, who lives overseas, and so the two of them have never actually met face to face. Just when she's getting ready to finally confess her feelings to Ada, one of Elsie's former best friends comes back into her life and the two of them start to reconnect. So the story kind of follows Elsie throughout this period of friendship and self-discovery, and once the summer ends, she is going to have a very difficult choice to make. So many people have told me that they think I would love this, and I have to agree. I have such a good feeling about it. All year I've been trying to find the right time to sit down with this, and I think this might just be the week. Again, not to sound like a broken record, but this book could count towards queer joy, catch-up, intersectional, and possibly the make-your-own category space if I decide to make it sapphic or perhaps not published in the US. And of course, there's also the group book, which is In Other Lands by Sarah Rees Brennan, aka one of my all-time favorite books. As I said in the announcement video, all of us co-hosts have read this book before multiple times and really loved it. Because of that, I'm not sure if it's going to be a top priority for me, but I do think the audiobook is stellar, and theoretically, I think I could have that going in the background throughout the week. But if I don't get to finish it or even start it, I'm not going to be stressed about it because it's just like a fun little bonus. Again, as previously mentioned, this book could be counted towards the group read space, of course, the satire/comedy space, brings you joy, and even genre mashup if you really wanted to, because it's technically a fantasy comedy, which you don't always get to see. So those are going to be my main focus, I think, and if I have time, which would be wildly unprecedented, especially in this economy, then I have a ton of queer rom-coms in my arsenal that I could just dive into at any point. I have Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner, aka the MILF book, where a college student goes to a dive bar off campus and unknowingly sleeps with her best friend's mom. I have The 99 Boyfriends of Micah Summers by Adam Sass, which is a YA rom-com/Cinderella retelling about Micah, who lives dreaming up meet-cutes but is way too scared to actually ask out any guys, and when he does actually meet-cute a guy in the subway, that guy gets off the train in a rush and he leaves behind his vegan leather jacket. I have Season of Love by Helena Greer, which is a sapphic holiday rom-com about Miriam, who winds up inheriting her late aunt's ironically Jewish-owned Christmas tree farm. I also have Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake, which is the sequel/companion to Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which is also a sapphic adult romance, and it's about renovating an inn for a reality TV show and Astrid falling for the lead carpenter on the project, which sounds incredibly gay. I also have A Dash of Salt and Pepper by Kosoko Jackson about Javier, who begrudgingly ends up back in his hometown working at a hip new restaurant as a prep chef and who cannot stand the hot single father who runs the place. I could keep going, but I won't. Needless to say, I am very well stocked on queer romances. And I only mention those because I tend to fly through them, but I have queer novellas, I have queer comics, I have review books, I have more things than I can possibly read in a single week. So I hope this has given you some ideas of what can be read for this next round of the Queer Lit Readathon, and if you need even more suggestions, be sure to follow us on social media where we are sharing recommendations for most of the bingo board spaces. I say most of because some of these challenges are subjective. We cannot tell you what a 5-star prediction might be for you, for example, what you should read for the free space, etc., but we have plenty of recommendations for every other prompt. Also, Kathy's been working really hard on going back and making like a master list where she has every prompt that's ever been done across all 10 rounds and listed all the books that have been recommended both by the hosts and in the comments for all of those prompts. So that is a tremendous resource and a tremendous amount of work, so go thank her for that and check it out down below in the description box. So those are my somewhat nebulous reading plans. If you're starting to plan your own Queer Lit TBR, feel free to share that down below in the comments. But that is everything I had to share with you for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, educate yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page.